My casting license just got revoked and I haven't renewed it. So as far as all of you are concerned, I'm not here. I didn't do this. You didn't see anything, and you didn't hear nobody. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am TTU Phoenix, or John Smith, as you'll be calling me. Wink. And I am casting with Soul Reaver today, bringing you a game between the Dandelion Knights and Dream Daddies. So, go ahead.
Yeah, hopefully it should be an exciting match. Both teams are sitting around the middle of the table for their division, so might be a playoff implications here. See who gets in and who gets kept out.
As we get through, this is, I think, a week 4 match. It is on the current patch, so this is the point where a lot of teams' views on playoffs really start crystallizing. You've seen enough of your opponents to start getting a sense of, who's the top contenders, who is probably a lock for play-ins, but it's a bit of a wild card, and who's trying to make that threshold. So Dream Daddies will be fielding Cheese Blaze in top, Young Fiend in jungle, Nikki Mite in mid, ZZ Dog in ADC, and Strom in support, and they are on the blue side. And on the red side for the Dandelion Knights, we have Cameron Beats in top, Infinite Blades in jungle, Mystic Wav or Mystic Wave in mid, Buff Aphelios on Aphelios in ADC, and Note Aggro in support.
Yeah, and looking at it, you've got interesting jungle matchup here with a Predator Gragas, pretty standard, pretty meta, versus River Shin with Ghost and Guardian.
So I had some doubts about the Ghost Shen jungle, but Infinite Blades, I believe I think their week 2 match, and he had 2 absolutely phenomenal games. I believe on the Shen, or possibly it was on a Ghost Galio. But I'm not going to underestimate it. I'm really excited to see what he pulls off. I do think the Guardian's a little unusual. I would have expected Aftershock, but it does give him more protection when he ults into lane, and that is one of the advantages of Shen, is that he, post 6, is very difficult to track as a jungler, because he can ult from anywhere on the map, so just because you've seen him in top side doesn't mean he can't get bot side instantaneously.
Yeah, and the Guardian really does offer a little bit more guaranteed utility beyond what Aftershock gives. Aftershock with Shin is reliant on his taunt landing, which is not always guaranteed. If you're, ulting onto somebody in the middle of a fight, you think you've got the direction right and you time it just wrong. You're just sailing off into nowhere, land with your taunt down and no Aftershock procced. And well, Shin's tankiness is a lot of it built into his abilities and his Aftershock. So once those are out of the way, he can get taken down pretty quickly.
I've actually been practicing a fair bit of Shen. That's something I've noticed as well. He's very dependent on the passive shield and his W auto deflect. Because in terms of raw health and raw stats, he's not up there with other tanks. So he's very kind of burst defensy. But let's get into the game. We don't want to wait any longer. I'll run quickly through the compositions as we're loading in. For Dream Daddies, we have Gnar, Gragas, as mentioned before. We have a Dark Harvest Zillion in the mid, Varus with lethal tempo, so that will be an on-hit Varus, and Braum. And then for the Dandelion Knights, we have the aforementioned River Shen, Vladimir in top lane, Morgana in mid, and then Aphelios and Blitzcrank in the bot lane. Hasagi! So the Vladimir is going to be running Phase Rush, Gnar is going to be running Conquer. I think that's pretty standard. Gnar probably won't have as much potential to bully the Vladimir as Gnar does against other top laners, but Gnar also scales very well, so he probably doesn't really mind the farm lane. I think mid's going to be interesting because these are traditionally both played in the support role, but they tend to be more supportive mid laners. Mid Morgana has good sustain damage, but not good burst. And so she usually relies on bringing more utility to the team with something like a Glacial build, but Mystic Wave is running the Comet, and excuse me, the Zillion mid is very much the same. You pick Zillion mid so that you have an incredibly powerful ult to res people. Because support Zillion's ult is a good amount of health, AP Zillion's ult is a massive amount of health. But the Dark Harvest suggests that Nikima is looking to do damage and be that carry damage dealer, in addition to the Gragas to bring magic damage.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at the team compositions and how they might play out as the game goes on. The Dream Daddies is a lot more traditional, and outside of the jungle as well as in the jungle, but also in the way that it wants to play out team fights. Whereas the Dandelion Knights have an interesting mix of late game hyperscalers and some some pick with Blitzcrank and Morgana.
And that's true. I think that Dream Daddies have a very straightforward team comp in terms of how to start a fight. You know, the Brommel, the Varus ult, Gnar jumping in with the Gnar ult, or an explosive castle. They have a lot of ways to initiate a fight, and then Gnar and Gragas deliver CC and some damage to the backline, and then Varus just uses the Braum shield to freely auto attack away. Whereas on the side of Dandelion Knights, they're looking more at like a Shen taunt or a Blitzcrank grab or a Morgana route to really try to start things off. They've got excellent pick potential, as you mentioned, but their ability to start like a large team fight is probably a little bit weaker.
Okay, looking at it, the got a push in bot lane. Top lane is sitting pretty even in the middle. Shin is making his way up there. He's cleared his bot side quicker than Gragas. It is blue side, so it's typically a little easier, at least for auto attackers. And it'll be interesting. They both started bot side. They may converge in the top side, but at the moment we've got some shove going on in the bot lane. Aphelios and Blitzcrank have a fair bit of lane pressure.
Aphelios is a pretty strong laner because almost all his combinations of guns, particularly the ones that he's going to have early on, tend to fight well. He's got poke and sustain with his starting guns. He has a lot of catch potential once he gets access to Graviton. Cheatlace is taking a lot of damage in top lane, and I think he needs to be more careful because Vladimir's early is not super strong, but he's taking a lot of damage, I think just to charge up his rage bar. But as a result, he's potentially in kill range for Cameron Beats, especially if the Shen's going to come up and try to taunt, I guess, ghost taunt.
Yeah, well, the Shin did pop the plant, which I think is kind of a tactical error because it revealed his location to Gragas. But they're actually meeting in the jungle right now. Are they gonna? Looks like they're just gonna walk away, but Gnar wants to fight. I don't know about that. Cameron, Vlad flashes in. He's got him. I think this might be first blood here, unless they make something happen. Might get a. There we go. Flashes away from the taunt. Gnar's getting out. No, Gnar's taken down by the Shin. Morgana's chasing down the Zillion, and Gragas is chasing down the Shin. Looks like Zillion's down there. Ignite out from Morgana. Gragas trying to finish off the Shin, but he might be in a little too deep, and that'll be another one for the Shin. Interesting turn of events. Everybody showed up for that fight, and some of them even came around for round 2.
Yeah, Cameron Beats goes in, but all of his abilities are on after he chunks the Gnar out, but doesn't get the kill, and so he is run down. But Infinite Blades, very good use of cooldowns, managing his spacing in order to get both of those kills there. So now he's
Oh, Varus gets hooked under tower too. If the Igniter's on, and that last tower shot will finish him off.
That was just an excellent
Braum as well.
Excellent use of the Gravitum there. Hopefully that was well communicated between Note Aggro and Buff Aphelios, that as soon as Varus lands from the Blitzcrank Power Fist, he's hit by Gravitum, he's rooted through, I think it's Binding Eclipse is the name of the Gravitum Q, and he's just, ignited, and he flashes out of tower, but he's already dead at that point. It's just a question when the tower shot catches up to him. It looks like Gnar is going to be building into Blade of the Ruined King. Excuse me. Which I have seen rising in popularity with Gnar. It is an item that he can use pretty well. He attacks very fast in mini form. He gets the enhanced damage in mega form. But I don't know if it's really what he wants against Vlad. It seems to me that building it against a Vlad is kind of committing to a side lane strategy where he's going to be looking to split push more than team fight, where something like the Frozen Mallet and Cleaver, which give him a lot of durability and just utility, would.
Oh, might be another pick in the bot lane here. Unless he gets, oh, he isn't quite able to block them all, but Aphelios might get a little bit of payback on him here. As they try to donate it, it looked like, but it was a Braum and a jungler there, so you might as well give it to the Gragas, because one of them's going to build damage. But yeah,
very. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like on your point of the Blade of the Ruin King, I think you're onto something there, because I feel like the main benefit of it is to abuse bruiser and tank matchups, and Vlad is not that. He doesn't. I mean, he builds some of a health pool, but he doesn't really have the kind of scaling and health pool that is taken in the health damage that you get from Blade of the Ruin King. Isn't really.
That's true. Though notably, he does get health out of his passive from building AP, and a lot of his core items do have health, and he doesn't tend to build a lot of armor, but.
Ooh, looks like Nars is going in for this. Oh, there's the Shin ult though. Shin hit us level 6 quickly. And that shield is enough to kill the Gnar before Shin even arrives.
Yeah, Cheeseblaze doesn't have he doesn't have enough rage built up. He's not able to get into Mega Form, which would allow him to answer some of that damage. He doesn't have lifesteal yet to try to sustain. So once the Shen ult comes out, and notably Shen's shield is increased as the ally that he's ulting gets lower on HP. So even at this point, it's a 280 shield once you're below 40% health, which I'm pretty positive that the Vladimir was. So that's a lot of shield for a Nard to try to get through.
Yeah, and the synergy with the Vladimir is great because the Vladimir doesn't mind getting low on health. He's just gonna, you know, he's just gonna
heal it back up
and get it empowered Q and heal half of that back up, and then with the shield on top of it, it buys him time for another one, you know?
If Cheeseblaze wanted to go for more split push, I think I would have preferred to see the Wit's End here, because it gives him magic resist and sustain. It gives him sustain like the Blade of the Ruin King, but it gives him magic resist to better resist Vlad's damage as well.
Yeah, either the Wit's End, oh, it looks like Varus gets picked off again, but his ult's back, and they're able to turn that fight around, and they might get the Blitzcrank as well. Blitzcrank, the double-edged sword, is able to flash away and survive, but bit off a little more than they could chew.
Yeah, and you're seeing, so ZZ Dog did use his old Chain of Corruption. The power of the Braum Varus. Braum is really good with any kind of high attack speed ADC because it allows him to get those stuns really fast. And an on-hit Varus is a high attack speed ADC.
Oh, looks like Gnar may be in trouble here. Shin is here in person this time, and I do not think... Nope, Gnar is not tanky enough to survive that.
No, he's only got 2 long swords and a recurve bow. He has no durability.
Ooh, and Braum ult whiffs, but oh, is the Aphelios ult going to be enough? No, Braum with the shield blocks all of that damage.
So what's interesting, I didn't realize that. It looked like the chakrams did not return to Aphelios after they hit the Braum shield, like they were destroyed. Which actually completely shuts down Buff Aphelios' damage because he had the chakrams all stacked up from using the ult. So he probably could have tried to follow and out DPS, even in a 1v2, but he didn't have the option because he lost all of those chakrams and thus his DPS went way down.
Oh no, they've gifted the Herald to Gragas, to Dream Daddies with that one. I think of a bit of a mistake there by Morgana, but she might die here. Oh no, they shouldn't have left Gnar alone, it looks like. Vlad's chasing him down, flashes in, gets the powered Q, and probably is going to call off pretty soon. There we go, yep.
And because of those kills and the earlier ganks, Cameron Beats has assembled a pretty significant 35 CS lead on the Gnar, which is huge. Vladimir is a bit of a soft laner. He's not terrible.
Oh.
He sustains very well.
That was unexpected.
Oh, just 2 bombs probably
yeah,
took out the Morgana.
One of them on the minion, and then he tossed the other one on it while Morgana was in the vicinity, and the damage with both was enough. It's a sneaky little kill there by
Yeah,
Dandelion.
very cheap.
Braum might want to get out of here. It's in a little bit of trouble, but there's Zilean. That might be enough. They should be able to get a pick on the Shin. Will they be able to follow up on anyone else with Aphelios there, though?
Nicky Knight's chasing. He's looking for the second bomb.
Oh, there's a teleport coming in from Vladimir. He's going to try to finish off the Braum before he turns around and probably focuses on the Varus. Varus is dueling the Blitz. Aphelios is there to finish him off, but no, Z-Dog was able to trade himself in a very, very awkward position. Now Vladimir's the one kind of caught out. Shin is ulting in on him though, hoping they'll get him to survive long enough. He is going to go down, and now the fight continues. Zilean is trying to drop bombs in from the side. Gnar is turned Mega, is able to get a decent stun off. Gragas is chasing down the Morgana. Zilean backing him up, and Shin is chasing down the Gnar, and he will get him in the end, but will lose his life for that kill as Gragas cleans up the last one. And it looks like
the Scuttle Crab
dragon now.
Scuttle Crab, untaken during the entire fight, is actually what saved Braum's life, because the Vladimir E, the circular damage, is actually body blocked by targets that it hits. And so the Scuttle actually absorbs the E.
Oh, Blitz is
absorbing damage.
Oof. Not where he wanted to be. He was hoping to pick off a weakened Zilean, but he was not able to get close enough thanks to the Gragas. Now it looks like they're going to be able to get that dragon at last.
So this will be Dragon 2 for the side of Dream Daddies. They did claim the Windrake earlier, which the Windrake is particularly useful for the Zilean because of how powerful his ult is, and having it available often is huge. The Mountain Drake is nice. Gragas, as someone who has to be in the fight, definitely appreciates the tankiness. I think it's mostly going to be appreciated by Braum here. But Infernal Drag is going to be huge, mostly for the damage that I think it will allow the Varus, the Gnar, and the Gragas to put out.
Yeah, they could use a little bit of extra damage once the late game gets there. Bursting down the Vladimir, especially in the late game, is going to be critical. And a lot of that is going to be on the Gragas probably, as to whether or not they can pick off the Vladimir, get enough burst onto him.
I think the mention of Vladimir is very key though, because right now Vladimir is probably the win condition for the Dandelion Knights, and even though they are down to the dragons, they're only down about 1,000 gold, 800 or so.
Oh,
Cameron Beats is really strong here.
Braum and Varus lay a trap in the bot lane, and it comes up with a double kill. That's worth it. Oh. Meanwhile, though, Vladimir just kills Gnar right at the edge of his own turret.
And he was actually knocked back into the turret by the Gnar ult, but he just has enough health and damage that he's able to out-sustain the damage and turn it back. And I think that as Dandelion Knights, you're looking at the Vladimir to be your carry here. Shen's fed, but he's a tank, and so he's just looking at the front line. But the Vladimir has a 50 CS lead. He's already got his first item, working on his second, compared to the 1-6 Gnar, who doesn't yet have Blade of the Ruined King. And Vladimir is just a champion who can absolutely explode the backline if he gets in there. And with Phase Rush, he has the target access. And so I think as Dandelion Knights, once Vlad gets his Zhonya's and then starts on a Death Cap or perhaps a Spellbinder, you're going to be looking to be ready to fight for these drags, because Vlad, if he gets into that backline, he'll just explode Nicky Mike with Easy Dog, regardless of... I mean, the Zilean ult can only save one person, and he'll get the other.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough. I mean, for Zilean, for Gnar, I think his job now is essentially to just try to survive. Oh, here we got Zilean trying to get picked off in the mid lane. Shen and Vlad once again pairing up. He's already used his ult, and he got hooked in by the Blitzcrank, and that's probably going to be it. Donates that one over to the Morgana.
And that Morgana must feel really good about getting that 700 gold, because she's got a lot of ages, but she's down on CS. She's not the 4 and 2 Zilean.
Another hook lands. Oh, Braum is blocking as much damage as he can, but it's not going to be enough. Zilean ult used as well. And they might try to pick off another one. but I don't think they have the burst with Vladimir's healing. They did get him fairly low, but everyone's spells had already been used, so they didn't have any more follow-up.
They do force the Hemo Plague out. It looks like tier 1s are going to be traded in the side lane, Gnar gets in the bot tower.
Oh. They tried to pick them both, but they did manage to get the Gragas at least. Oh, Vladimir's flashing in, going for the Varus, and he does manage to get him. Varus's attack speed and lifesteal is not enough at this point for him to 1v1 the Vladimir.
Yeah, so it looks like they're looking to recall. Dream Daddies are looking to be on the chase here, but they haven't really picked a target yet.
Yeah, they didn't see Vladimir back, so I'm surprised that they're going as aggressively as they have. And Gnar went for the wrong side of that fight, it looks like, as Zillion and Braum went for the Blitzcrank, and Gnar went for the Shen and Morgana and lost that. They will trade the Blitzcrank's life, but it goes to the Braum. I don't know that that's the trade they really wanted.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the upside is Gnar is probably not worth very much gold at this point, and Blitzcrank gave I think he gave the full 300. So, in terms of gold, it's a trade in favor of Dream Daddies, but I think the Gnar needs, he needs to get some tankiness real fast, because you saw, like, he was chasing the Morgana, but as soon as the Shen Spirit's Refuge went down, his damage dropped to 0 because it was all auto attack based, and then he gets hit by the Shen taunt, and he just evaporates. Like, Mega Gnar has some of the best base tank stats of any champion in the game. Mini Gnar has some of the worst base tank stats of any champion in the game. Like, he has 1,000 health at this point, and he's gonna lose it all here, I think, to Vlad.
Dream Daddy's in a rough spot right now. Kind of inserted between mid lane priority thanks to the Vladimir and the Dragon. They may just have to give this one up.
Yeah, the Vladimir's come online now. He's zoning 3 people. He's gonna try to dodge the stun here. Does get out.
Proto belts away. Flash by the Varus though. Misses his ult next to the stopwatch. His Vladimir gets the shutdown on Vladimir with Varus. That's big. I think Dream Daddies probably want to back off now, but they're still fighting here. Some really low health bars though. Don't know if they can take this fight. Good disengage there for Gragas. Blitzhook misses. Gnar gets knocked up in mid-hop. If that's their only casualty, I think they'll take that.
Yeah, considering how low they were and how much they were getting chased out, they do get the kill on the Vlad. I think Vlad was a little trying to wait for the Zillion ult to time out before he pulled the trigger on the transfusion, but it doesn't time out in time, and he does get taken. Excuse me, there. And the bounty is good, but I think that from Dandelion Knight's perspective, even with the bounty that Vladimir did give, you have claimed a dragon, which is actually really valuable and I think worth losing Vlad there for, because this would have put Dream Daddies, on Soul Point, which is very threatening because once a team has that 3rd dragon, they have almost absolute control over objectives because you have to be at dragon after that to stop them from getting soul, which means they have the choice of either contesting you, which they may win because they're ahead, or going for the Baron. But getting that dragon for themselves gives them the hope of potentially getting a soul, gives them more time before Dream Daddies can threaten to take the soul again. And so that is actually a pretty big objective take for them here.
It is. And it kind of seems to be more so because of how much momentum Dream Daddies seem to have after that fight. Pushed all the way up to the tier 2 turrets and taking away most of Dandelion Knight's jungle. Dropping Rift Herald in bot lane now as well, going for that tier 2. Dream Daddies looking to push this down, but the rest of the team is collapsing and Braum gets hooked in. Varus responds with his ultimate. Zillion is over the wall, but he's not in range to ult. zone. Shin ult onto Blitzcrank. Vladimir is proto-belting in, but he's going to get separated by the Blast Cone. Gragas is body slamming away. The hook just misses. The barrel should be enough to slow and get him away, along with the Braum. Oh, little bit of a mistake there. Looks like he just stopped clicking on the map while he pressed his W, so he ends up using his ult to try to disengage, but that's not enough. He does get picked off by the Aphelios, who's going to be happy to have that extra gold.
And Buffafelios, excellent play there, uses the moonshot,
Straight for Baron.
The Calibrum Q, I think, the sniper rifle Q, to apply the alt-fire shot from Gravitum to slow and root Dragon and prevent him from escaping. They are going to work on the Baron here. Only Zilean has really checked it out. He now knows that they're doing it.
I think
good damage from the bombs.
Ooh. They almost get killed by that. That might be a little bit too much. I think Aphelios was trying to get rid of his one weapon, but anyway, the Baron does get taken by Shin, and the fight is going on, but it looks like, oh no, Vladimir does clean up the Gnar in the back, and Varus is in a very bad spot. Unless he can make something happen here, he's going down as well, and he does not get any more than one for it. So just Aphelios down for the Baron. I think that's, and 4 kills. It's a very nice turn of event for the Dandelion Knights.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate that Aphelios did die there, but my guess is the call was made to finish the Baron, and I think it was the correct call. They do secure the Baron. They lose only one person for it, and they get quite a few kills. ZZ Dog played that fight really well, kiting back in between his autos, spacing himself as best as possible. He going in for a last kill at the end once he realizes there's no chance he's going to escape, but he's only able to claim, I think, 2 kills. Or maybe just one on the Aphelios. No, Aphelios went down early, and I think he might have picked off someone else. But in the end, it's mostly a consolation prize. It's now a 4,000 gold lead, almost going on 5,000 gold lead for the Dandelion Knights. So even though the early advantage was to Dream Daddies, I think what you see happen is the Vladimir has come online. The Shen is tanky enough that he's not really in danger, and he's just a frontliner and CC machine. And they're getting great picks with this Blitzcrank.
Yeah, speaking of the devil, he gets one and just by himself takes Zilean to nearly half health. That's the power of that. The Blitzcrank is, it's always a danger when you start losing control of vision. Vladimir's laying in wait for him, and that might be enough to force the ult. Unless Zilean gets out of there, he's gonna die here right after his ult. Oh, maybe I spoke too soon. No, he does fall to the Aphelios. Gragas takes out the Vladimir. Aphelios takes out Varus, and it's a mess. Gragas takes out Aphelios. Nard with a nice stun, a double ult into the wall. Is trying to get away though as his health is nearly down. Gragas is cleanup duty though. Gets 2 more kills. That's an unofficial quadra, I believe, so far. Working on the unofficial penta. And they're trying to give it to him.
There's the unofficial penta. That is a 10-3 Gragas, and what you see there is, it must have been so infuriating for the Shen, is every time he thinks that the Braum or the Gnar are going to die, because they're so low, Gnar hops over the wall, or Braum jumps to his ally over the wall, and he's being red buff slowed by Gragas the whole time, slowed by the barrel toss, and so he's just essentially kited down. It starts out with a really good pick on the Zilean by Dandelion Knights. And then there's a duel between the ADCs, but Buffafelios wins because one of those ADCs has a Shen that ults in to protect him. But he gets so low in the fight that even through Shen's ult shield and the locket shield from Shen, that he does get picked off at the back of the fight by Gragas. And with the 2 damage dealers down, Dandelion Knights think they have a good fight, but at some point in there, Vladimir went down, and Gragas and Gnar and Braum are able to just clean up the rest of it with good stuns, good fighting. And so they've now secured the 3rd drag. They are on Soul Point.
Yeah, I think Gragas must have gotten, because Vlad was the first one Gragas killed, so as far as I remember, he went down pretty early, so he probably just did not get as much healing as he expected, or got burst down by some combo. Because it is H-Bane Morellas on Gragas, so he's doing a lot of damage.
Vlad used his ult to burst the Zillion into his ult, but that meant he then didn't have the healing available afterwards to try to sustain through the fight. And I'm also not sure if Vlad ult heals him from someone who's in a Zillion ult stasis. So it's possible he didn't get any healing at all.
Yeah, either way, I think it was a fight where the Dandelion Knights thought that they were just making a pick. Oh, meanwhile, there's a fight breaking off mid here. The Gragas ult to disengage hits nothing. Vladimir goes in, ults, and gets the shutdown onto Gragas. And they're able to pick up Braum as well. The rest of the Dandelion Daddies trying to disengage as best they can. But it looks like the second tier turret is probably going to go down. Oof, but that is a pick thanks to a nice stun from Zillion, combined with the aerial from Varus, but Varus steps a little too far forward and is going to go down probably. No, his Guardian Angel popped and he's able to flash out. Morgana does pick up the Zillion there with a pool at the turret, but sniped. The Aphelios goes down to the Varus Q.
And taking out the Aphelios is actually huge there because it stalls the push. Because Morgana and Shen are not going to do very much damage to towers. This is a full tank Shen. He doesn't have Titanic Hydra or Tiamat or any kind of damage item. He doesn't really do a lot of damage to towers because Shen's base AD is just okay. And Vladimir is too low to risk continuing the fight, so they get a tier 2 turret, but that's about all they're getting. Because it starts out with Young Fiend looking for an engage on the dragon, but the explosive cast is off the mark. And so Cameron Beast is just like, alright, I'm going into the back line. And he kills 2-3 people almost. I think he has 1. Actually, I don't think he got a kill, but he got a number of assists there.
Oh, here comes the teleport in from Zillion, who is down in the bot lane. Vladimir's trying to take care of the back line as Zillion, Varus does his best to defend himself, but it's not enough. A nice ult from Gnar is almost enough to take out the Vlad, but he does survive a little bit longer. He does go down, but at the end, and Aphelios comes in to clean up the Gnar. Zillion gets the ult off, but it's not enough. He's going to go down. His health bar is just so small. And that looks like a nice free Baron for the Dandelion Knights.
Yeah, they make a lot of effort there to take out the Varus, but Cameron Beats does get the kill. It takes Infinite Blades protecting him for a while, but they do secure it. And then Cheese Blaze, if you look at those, he's got 4 Spear Pods. Like, he got a lot of MR on this Gnar, which makes sense because he's mostly fighting magic damage threats. But it also means he's not really providing a lot of team utility. He doesn't have the slows from Frozen Mallet. He doesn't have the shred from Black Cleaver, which would really, I think, be really powerful for ZZ Dog to be hitting targets whose armor has already been shredded. And so he helps secure the kill on the Vladimir, but then he has to bail out of the fight because he's relatively low. And Aphelios just slaps him with a couple of chakrams and claims that kill.
Yeah, with unfortunately for Dandelion Knights, their Vladimir was down, so Cameron Beats does not get the buff. But
so it's about a 6,000 gold lead.
Or so. It's gonna be.
It's about a 6,000 gold lead between the two teams, and notably, all of the positions are a few hundred gold apart, except top lane, where Vladimir is a 6,000 gold lead. All of the gold lead is Vladimir versus Gnar.
Ooh, Blitz hits a hook, but it might be a bit of a bait, as he's going to go down to Gragas. Gnar taunts in and is going to try to finish Gragas off. Gragas has the Guardian Angel, or the Zillion ult. Aphelios takes out Gnar in the backline. Varus is going to drop as well, and it's just Gragas left at the end, trying to get away as best he can. I don't know if he's going to make it. It looks like they're going to actually turn for the dragon and prevent that dragon soul. But a good fight attempt there in the jungle by Dream Daddies. They were able to get the first pick, but after that, it just did not have enough abilities left.
Buff Aphelios is allowed to stand and fire in the back line. He gets 3 stacks of the Braum stun on him, but they aren't able to secure the concussive blow, so he's just allowed to free fire. ZZ Dog tries to free fire when he gets caught by a Morgana CC chain, but he ends up getting taken out. And like, the Zillion ult goes down relatively early to save Gragas, and the Dream Daddy's DPS is just much more vulnerable than the DPS on the Dandelion Knight, because Vladimir is a champion who kind of self-heals between his Sonya's Hourglass, between his pool, between Protobelt Dash, his Phase Rush. He has a lot of options to keep himself safe. Shen, obviously a tank, and then with all that front line, Morgana has her own shield, she has her Divine Hourglass, she's relatively safe, and then Buff Aphelios can just stay behind his entire team and not be in danger. But on the side of Dream Daddies, they're kind of relying on Strom, who's really on a peel tank, to also kind of initiate, which means that a lot of his good tools are going down relatively early to try to start the fight. Cheese Blaze isn't tanky enough to be that initiator that they need, and Young Fiend isn't tanky either. So all they have is the Zillion ult, and that can only save one of them.
Yeah, and really, I think at the moment you see whoever, if Young Fiend uses all his abilities to take out the support, then they don't have enough damage to burst out the Vladimir or the Aphelios, and if they don't do that, then they don't win the fight.
Yeah, it was kind of what did you get? We took out Blitzcrank. What did it cost you? Everything moment.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, you got Blitzcrank, but you had to burn the Braum ult to do it. You had to sacrifice the Zillion ult to save Gragas in the return fight. Like, the Gnar ult got some disruption.
Looks like they're trying to make a little bit of a defense here of their second tier turret. Vladimir is pretty far up. It looks like they may have caught him out. He gets the Zhonya's off, and he's Protobus out of the way of the Gragas body slam, which is really nice. Gragas' ultimate just go a little too deep. He's not able to knock anybody in or do any damage. Braum is picked up as well after his stopwatch ends. Or his, I guess that was the Zillion ultimate. And Zillion is chased down by the Vladimir's ult. Can't get away from that.
And that's the self-peeling I was talking about. Like, Cameron Beats gets stuck under a tower with no minion wave, and he buys so long between the pool and the Zhonya's.
Whoa, good ult attempt there by Gnar. He's able to get two of them. The big carries are down thanks to that. And look at Ferris go. That's attack speed right there.
DC Dog just is like, alright, I'm the blender. Let's start it up.
Wow, that was an excellent engage by Gnar too. Really, really gave them a second life chance at this. That and the fact that Z-Dog comes back with 4 items, a
triple
BF
kill
sword, and just stands and delivers in the middle of everyone.
I think that was almost ultimately most valuable, not for ZZ Dog, but for the Gnar. Gnar is currently sitting on 2,500 gold, which will allow him to finish his Thornmail and start on his next item. Like, this is a Gnar who is still 5,500 gold under the Vladimir after all that money, but he is just so starved for resources. Vladimir is full build. Vladimir is full build at 33 minutes. Gnar does not yet have his third item, his outside of boots. So Gnar needs money so badly. He needs so many things. He needs CDR. He needs damage. He needs tankiness. He needs anti-heal. He needs. And so all of those assists, and I think he did pick up 1 or 2 of the kills there, is just immensely valuable to get him back in this game. He's backing right here to spend that gold.
It is interesting to note, though, that the Aphelios is now behind the Varus as far as items and gold go. Varus is really putting himself in a place where if his front line can give him enough peel, he can stand and deliver without getting hit by a myriad of abilities that are threatening. He might be able to really turn this around. But it looks like they're going to trade Dragon Soul for Baron. As Baron number 3 is going down and Dragon is spawning in 10 seconds. That might give him enough time to get down there, though.
And there's that advantage I mentioned earlier that being on Soul Point gives you, is that the Dandelion Knights are forced to be at drag because of the risk that it gives over Soul, but they just give up Baron in the process. They're looking to secure it here.
Oh, Dandelion Knights, they're going for it. They do get the Infernal Soul, and Gragas flashes out of the pit, and it looks like they're actually going to be able to pull away. But they are still facing 2 waves of super minions and a Baron buff.
So I think the question here is, can the Dandelion Knights get the last in him or not? Because one thing you see there is the super mini waves are evaporating. A lot of their champions here, Zillion, Gnar, not incredible wave clear, but the Infernal Soul gives them wave clear by giving them that splash damage. The third inhib will go down here, so the entire base is open. Gnar's about to go Mega. I think Cheap Blaze can look for an initiation here, if he can get a good ult.
Does not look like he's gonna get it, as the Dandelion Knights are playing it pretty safe. Oh, he does go in here, but he's trying to save his ult for someone more important than the Shen or the Blitzcrank. I can understand that. As Varus is getting jumped on by the Vladimir, gets hit by the Hemo Plague and gets away, but it looks like Gragas almost gets enough to take him down. Aphelios is pumping out the damage right here. Looks like there's just not enough damage, or not enough tankiness really out of the front line of Dream Daddies to stand in front of the damage dealers. And Dandelion Knights are trying to close this one out. They've taken down the turrets, and there goes the Nexus.
Yeah, good win from Dandelion Knights. I think that they were behind by a little bit early, but they're like, look, we've got scaling on our side. Our ADC scales just as hard as theirs does. Both mid laners are mostly utility picks. Our jungle tank is ahead, and our Vladimir is getting fed. I'm not sure what the
Yeah, it was a difficult spot to be in there at the end. With they were able to clear out a lot of the minions, so they weren't dealing with. They didn't get to the point of having to deal with 3 waves of super minions, but they still. It feels kind of inevitable. Baron buff was fairly new. They probably still had 2 minutes left on it. They'd able to take down the 3rd inhibitor. So as Dream Daddies, you just have to engage a fight and hope that you're able to get that pick onto either the Vladimir or the Aphelios. Unfortunately, Vladimir at that point in the game is nearly impossible to kill. Once he drops his ultimate onto a couple of people, gets some Qs off, then all that damage that you've done, if it doesn't kill him, then it's too late. He's full health again.
So I want to ask a question that the previous casters started doing, which I like. Who would be your pick for MVP and Ace? So MVP would be most valuable player on the winning team, and Ace would be most valuable player on the losing team. So who do you think was most valuable for each team here?
I think it's really hard to argue against the Vladimir being the most valuable player. Like, sure, like Shen Ultimate gave him a bit of an advantage early, but by that point he was already 20 CS up. He was already winning that lane. Cheese Blaze had already kind of been put on the back foot. So I really think that Cameron Beats just kind of controlled the way that the flow of these team fights had to go. Every time he was there, he had to be focused, but he was able to just run into the enemy team and really draw a lot of attention. For the other side, I have to give it to Gragas for the ace. Like, he made so many good plays. He got that unofficial penta there in the middle of the game. He was able to control objectives, do his job as the jungler. The Vladimir was taking care of top side, so he didn't try to gank the Vladimir and waste his time there. Instead, spent time in bot lane and in mid lane and in the enemy jungle. And they were able to end up with that dragon soul at the end, the Infernal Soul. And he had quite a nice scoreline, but as it goes, sometimes it's just not enough.
Yeah. So I think we're going to take a short break here as we get ready for game 2. So we will see you back here in a few minutes, everyone. no, officer, I have been casting illegally. The microphone, it's just it's medical. I have a doctor's note here. I promise. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm TTU Phoenix, or John Smith. You know who I'm talking about. And I'm here with Soul Reaver, my co-caster, to bring you Game 2 of the Dandelion Knights versus Dream Daddies. So, I remember who was on which side. The Dandelion Knights did win Game 1. It was very back and forth, but in the end, their late game carries came through. They will be switching sides for this game, as is typical, so the Dandelion Knights will be on blue side, and Dream Daddies will be on red side.
Yeah, we get some interesting things once again. Infinite Blades on the Dandelion Knight side, taking Ghost in the jungle again. An interesting adaptation. I guess it's something where he just feels like the buffs to Ghost over the last, it's been like, a few patches since it's happened, but it feels like the buffs on these champions that don't need flash as badly make it worth taking the lower cooldown summoner.
Yeah, and admittedly, he's on Master Yi this game, so on the side of Dandelion Knights, they have Cameron Beats in top on the Gnar, Infinite Blades on the Master Yi jungle, Mystic Wave on Gragas mid, Buff Aphelios on Jhin, and Note Aggro on Thresh. And on the side of Dream Daddies, they have Cheese Blaze in top on Camille. Their jungle and support have swapped roles this game. Strom is going to be in the jungle on Olaf, and Young Fiend will be in support on the Galio, ZZ Dog in ADC on the Senna, and Nikki Might in mid on the Dark Harvest Zillion.
And if last game was any indication, this should be a spicy matchup. I think you can kind of take some guesses here as to how the pick ban went, and I'm guessing that on the blue side they stole away the Gragas game 1 pick 1 to keep that out of the hands of Young Fiend, because he was pretty scary on it in game 1.
Yeah, his Gragas performance was quite strong, and I'm gonna guess the Aphelios was out, and probably the Vladimir too.
Probably so. I wouldn't be surprised if the Shen was banned as well, because the combination of those champions was quite difficult for them to deal with.
I'm interested to see.
Was farming so quickly that he hit 6 as fast as his top laner.
I'm interested to see how Infinite Blades does, because Master Yi and Shen are very different characters, even though they both look like ninjas and both have swords. Shen is a very selfless character. His jump clear is decent, but he doesn't scale offensively very well. He builds tanky. He didn't even build the Titanic Hydra for some extra damage or pushing potential, and many of his abilities are focused on CCing and setting up for his team, which worked because he had a Vladimir who was getting ahead, he had a scaling ADC and a utility mid, so all he had to do was be that frontline tank. But Master Yi is the opposite. He's a very selfish champion. He requires a lot of gold and items to get online. He doesn't bring any CC. He doesn't bring initiation. He can't protect his allies. All he does is do a lot of damage by right-clicking and pressing Q sometimes. And so I think that seeing if Infinite Blades can transition to this carry-oriented style well, and if his team can play around that carry-oriented style well, will be very important, because Olaf is a powerhouse early-game jungler, and so Infinite Blades may require some assistance from his laners in order to secure jungle fights, invades, ensure that he gets scuttle crabs, and that he's able to get the farm he needs to get online.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. I think a lot of that, whether or not he gets that help, is going to come out of the top lane, as this time Cameron Beats is the one with the Gnar, and he's going into a Camille, which is, I think, kind of a difficult matchup for him, as he can be jumped on while he's in mini Gnar and burst down pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's having played it from the Camille's perspective, the early lane is pretty rough. Gnar has a lot of poke. Camille, early on, does not do a ton of damage. She is not naturally tanky. She needs to be in melee to do most of her stuff. So it's certainly Gnar's early game to control, but in the mid to late game, once she gets some damage and tankiness online and gets towards her Triforce, she's very much able to, as soon as he pops out of Mega Form and is squishy and vulnerable again, just instantly engage on him, lock him in place with the Hextech Ultimatum, and do a lot of damage.
Yeah, and for the mid lane, I think with a Gragas and a Zilean, I'm not as familiar with the Zilean, but I play a lot of Gragas, and clearing the wave is going to use up a lot of his, early especially at least, is going to use up a lot of his abilities and mana. So he's not going to I don't expect him to have the push early on in this game. So he might have to sacrifice if he wants to get out there and help Yi with some of these scuttle crabs or dragons. But I think the bot lane is going to be a little bit more interesting because the Senna Galio, while it's a nice combo, it's not exactly heavy on the damage early. And I think they're going to have a bit of a rough time going up against this Thresh Jhin combo.
Speaking of rough time, that's what I'm going to have when my parole officer finds out I'm casting illegally. So let's get this crime on the way and get into game. Masaki! Alright, so looking at runes and masteries, the Gragas did take Comet. I've seen top lane Gragases take Phase Rush, but I think Comet makes sense here because he needs to trade with a ranged opponent. Both supports taking Aftershock, Glacial for the Senna. It is going to be the fasting Senna. She did. ZZ Dog did take the Spectral Sickle, and Young Fiend did take the Doran's Ring. Conquer on the Yi and the Olaf. Fleet Footwork on the Gnar, which is a little bit more sustained focused than like Conquer is, but I think that's going to be fine there. They're going to find Note Aggro on this invade. Get him with the slows.
He's gonna have to flash away here. Oh, but Camille goes over the wall. I do not think they'll be able to get the kill. He does hook them under a turret for a little return damage, but not enough to really make a difference.
Yeah, the issue there is when Cheeseblaze takes the hook shot, he's able to get the stun, but it's a pretty short stun, 3/4 of a second, and he doesn't have any damage to follow up once he hits him. But they do burn Thresh's flash, which will force him to be a little more passive in lane, deny him the chance to sort of flash fillet onto the Senna. And the only thing, they do get a Dark Harvest stack for Nikimite as well. The only thing they really sacrifice is that the first level or two for Cheeseblaze will be a little trickier because he won't have Precision Protocol to allow him to last hit, or Tactical Sweep to allow him to sort of trade back and sustain up with Cameron Beats. But as a Camille into a Gnar, your first few levels are kind of a bit of a loss anyways, so it shouldn't be too much of a deficit.
Yeah, he doesn't exactly want to be pushing those early waves as it is. But as you saw there, as Thresh misses the hook, Senna stayed around at blue buff until it died so that she could pick up a soul. So she's already thinking about how she wants to play this out to get the maximum number of souls. And I hope those cops aren't coming for you. But...
And that is what you're looking to do is fasting Senna. You're looking to scale off of your souls, not off of farm, and so getting those, getting that extra souls just helps you get a little bit closer to really coming online. She's already at 83 gold compared to 51 for the Thresh, so she's
Thresh does land the hook, and he's gonna miss the flay. Senna flashes out of it, and Galio meanwhile engages on the Jhin, takes him about to half. So all in all, about an equal trade, but does get Senna's flash, so they will take that. Ooh, Jhin takes that one in the face, and the last little bit of that minion's health bar takes the hook. So no second engage there. Meanwhile, Camille is engaging on Gnar top. Olaf is there as well. He does not land the axe, and Gnar is able to get away thanks to his own minion wave arriving at just the right time to give him something to jump off of.
Yeah, and that's the issue with an Olaf. It's going to be hard to gank the Gnar unless he's already burned his hop.
Looks like he is making a wraparound there, and I don't know, I think the Gnar's hop may not be up yet. He has to flash out, and that is nearly a kill. That does burn his ult, or his flash, so he will be quite vulnerable. Bottom Scuttle Crab picked up by the Dandelion Daddies bot lane. Jin is a little separated, but I think he'll be fine. Hook goes wide, and Jin is engaged on. He has to flash out. He's exhausted as well by the Galio. And there goes the heal. Is he going to be able to get away? No, he's not. He gets sniped out. He is in a confrontation here, a 1v3 that I do not think he meant to get into, and he is taken down.
Yeah, the Yi's actually farming quite well, but I'm not sure if he tried to contest Scuttle there, and Olaf just ran up on him, but because Olaf gains bonus attack speed, the lower he is on health, you can never really count Olaf out of a fight in the early game in the jungle in particular. Because just because he's low on health doesn't mean he's not dangerous, and he gets so much healing when his W is active. I believe he had Vicious Strikes that he's very able to turn low-level fights and just out-heal you. Buffafelio is taking a lot of poke from ZZ Dog there. ZZ Dog is currently at, a little hard to tell. Can't quite tell because of the overlay, but I think he's at 14. So I believe it's 25 is the first range increase, every 20 stacks. So he's relatively close to his first attack range increase.
Yeah, no, you can see up here at the top lane though, Gnar is using that range to his best advantage. He's down a level at the moment, but he does get that level up now off of this wave. But he's getting engaged on. Camille is trying to make this one happen. Will she be able to chase him down before he Mega Gnars her before he gets his ult? Because he does look like he's on exhausted at the moment.
Yeah, well played by Cameron Beats there. He hugs the Camille at the very end so he doesn't get hit by the W. Camille with fully charged Conqueror, her W, if she hits you with the outer edge, will do a fair bit of damage and heal her a good amount.
Ooh. If that stun landed there, I think that was it for Gnar. As he, oh no, Olaf runs in and he does get the Zillion ult. Dragon goes down to Yi, Thresh goes down, and Gragas also goes down. So, ooh. 3 for the Dragon. It's a bit costly for the first Dragon. At least it's an Infernal, and maybe later in the game that'll matter. But it's not a good trade for the most part for a first Dragon, unless you really stack them.
And I'm not sure that the Dandelion Knights really want to be forcing those early objectives. Like, Yi does not yet have the Blood Razor. He's really not strong enough to fight the Olaf, but he's got better farm, and I feel like Yi should be looking to farm and maybe counter gank, just because, like, he wants to get to 2 or 3 items, and then he can easily try to 1v1 the Olaf. But right there, he doesn't have flash to get out of the pit, and he's just too vulnerable to Olaf just kind of running in there.
Yeah, and oftentimes I find as a jungler, I don't want to force dragons unless I'm using them as a way to keep up in experience, as dragons are one of the few sources of catch-up experience. But Camille is in mid lane, and Gragas is in trouble. He's not level 6 yet, and Camille is. So it looks like they should be able to get him. No, that bomb is not going to be enough to finish him off. So Camille takes some turret shots and takes some damage. Gnar may be able to get a plate out of this, unless the TP is enough to dissuade him from sticking around for him.
I don't know if they thought that Gragas didn't have flash, but he didn't have explosive cast to disengage there. I think Camille needed to ult faster because that would have prevented the Gragas from flashing out. And as he flashes out, he pulls Camille into tower.
Lands in the play as well, and Sinis flashes down again. She does manage to dodge, I think it's the Flourish, but it is not enough to save half their health bar. So bot lane is looking a little rough here. Senna and Galio both sitting at half HP.
Yeah, and so that's the thing with Senna, is that she can do a lot of damage, and she has a lot of sustain by ADC/support standards, but she's pretty vulnerable to getting jumped on. If she gets hit by the hook from Thresh, she's always in danger, unless she's massively ahead.
Ooh,
She's quite strong right now, but hasn't yet finished her mana immune and didn't have the pickaxe then, so she didn't actually have a lot of damage in that fight. So it is 5-0 in favor of Dream Daddies. They are down one dragon, but as someone who plays jungle a fair bit, my stance is always that I don't mind giving up one of the first two dragons. I just don't want to give up them both. If we go into the soul with both teams 1-1, I feel fine with that. So as long as Dream Daddies can get the second drag, I don't think they should be too worried. It'll be a mountain drag, good for Olaf, good for Camille, good for Galio.
Speaking of Camille, she's going in, and Nar is gotta flash away, as Olaf shows as well. Even Zillion was roaming up there. He had Zillion in his back pocket, but I don't think the 2 versus 3 is something they really want to go with Zillion's ultimate there as well.
Yeah.
Olaf is going to start up the Rift Herald, but Yi might, and Gragas might be enough to deter him. Oh, Yi ults, and he's getting it. They separated him. Senna's ult, though, takes out
The railgun gets him.
the snipe from across the map.
Yeah, I don't think he should have been there. I don't think he needed to contest that. That was a, look, I gotta give this up. I'm not strong, I'm gonna fight it. Particularly since you didn't have Gnar. Gnar was low and got pushed out. One of the issues is that because Camera Beats went for the first item Kindle Gem and took quick forward, he didn't have any attack damage at that point. He wasn't doing much damage to Camille. Speaking of doing damage.
Yeah, they tried to go in there, and it was looking good for a moment, but Thresh just lays everything down on Senna, and Jin gets some serious damage in on him to follow up. And they were able to pick up Galio here as well and donate it to the Yi. So that's going to be a really big for the Yi, as he's
That's super important.
Blood Razor at this point.
Yeah, Yi needs a lot of money here. He's actually a little bit ahead in gold on the Olaf, about 100 gold, mostly because of the farm lead he has, but he's still kind of behind where he would be because of those 3 deaths. And up until that 450 shutdown, he was behind. So getting that puts Yi back on a close to even footing with the Olaf, and he basically has enough gold to match what Olaf would have in terms of itemization. So given that Mount Drake is about to spawn, I want to see Infinite Blades back, buy an item with about 1,000 gold he has, and then be ready to fight for Dragon.
Yeah, I think it'll be pretty unfortunate if he tries to stick around here. He could have, you know, his Berserker Greaves or something purchased up, and that could make a huge difference in this fight, but it does look like he's going to stick around for this dragon.
Looks like he feels he doesn't have enough time. He might be in a position to catch up with the Senna and Galio here.
Thresh Hook does not land, though. Zillion is following down the river, and he's going to land a nice axe or a bomb followed by the axe, and that might be enough. No, it's not quite enough to kill the Zillion, or the Thresh, excuse me. Zillion ult lands on Olaf, and it's a cluster. It's quite a mess. Eventually, Gragas is the only one to go down. Galio is chasing the Thresh down. I think he's going to get the kill, and he is.
That's actually 3 down because the Yi also went down there.
Oh, you're right. The Yi did fall.
And they are going to summon the Rift Herald here. Yeah, because Camera Beats has his TP but doesn't TP in. So, like, early on, they get a catch on the Thresh. He gets chunked out really hard by Olaf damage. Oop.
And he's down. It was really just a matter of time for Jin there. The Rift Herald was going to one-shot the turret. So he was doomed there. Oh, he gets ulted by the Camille. He was just not in the right place right there. Had no business coming around that side, and only the Thresh to back him up. Gragas should be able to get out here, but that's a big push. 2 towers down. Nar's still working on the top tower to trade. Dragon fell as well, so they were able to trade, like you said. Jin's ult, not enough to pick any stragglers off, so they're stuck defending their inhibitor turret. They trade 1 turret for 2 and a dragon, and what, 5-6 kills?
And notably, Senna has 50 stacks of souls now. She's gotten 30% crit, so despite building no crit in items, she has more crit than Jin. Jin has 20% crit from that Cloak of Agility, so there is a huge... It's only about 170, 160 gold lead for ZZ Dog, but you have to also count the massive amount of gold value he's getting out of his passive. 37 AD is about 1,100 probably close to 1,300 gold worth of AD. He's getting 50 range, which is hard to measure, but 1,200 more out of the critical strike chance he's got. And then all of the gold he's earned from Harrowing Crescent means that even though he hasn't been farming, he's been even on farm gold. So ZZ Dog is actually probably close to 2,500 to 3,000 gold ahead of Buffafelios, despite being even in gold, theoretically.
Oh, Gragas tries to get the knockback with the ult under tower, but he ends up just knocking him into the wall. Meanwhile, Nara is getting chased down in top lane. He's going to try to jump in there and trade out for it. Oh, and he is not quite able to do it. It is a narrow margin there as Camille is able to flash to just the right side of that boomerang to avoid taking the final tick of damage that would have taken him out.
Yeah, and Cheeseblaze is notably down on CS. Part of it's because he's been roaming while Cameron Hughes has stayed in lane for much of the time. But he's also down some in CS because it's a range versus melee matchup. But he's 106.
Flash out of Jhin as Galio goes in again. Jhin is ulting now as Gragas tries to re-engage. Galio ults onto the Zillion to try to save him. And Senna is obscuring the field a little bit, but Galio gets hooked. Double stunned by Zillion though, nearly kills everybody. And everyone's a little low. Yi is going in, but I do not think he's strong enough at this point to run in there at 25% HP and get away with it. Jhin is kind of the last man standing here, doing his best, but he's not gonna make it. Oh, that deadly flourish is not able to land, so Olaf survives. Senna flashes out of turret after taking Jhin out.
I feel like what happened is Dream Daddies were like, look, we were ahead in game 1, why did we lose? And they looked at the replay and they're like, okay, we got outscaled because we let the Vladimir farm and it took us too long to try to use our advantage before Vladimir scaled. Oops, speaking of it, what?
Yet another fight. Oh, Yi is there trying to clean up. He does get the Senna and the shutdown. So that's a nice extra bit of gold there for him. Because it is another instance where scaling is on the side of the Dandelion Knights, but they're going in again. Camille bolting onto the Yi, and Yi is able to get the kill though. Galio cleans him up, but in the end, it's so far a 2-for-1. Jhin is trying to get the Galio, and he's reloading, and he does get the kill after that, and it looks like he'll be able to get the Zillion afterwards. So that's a nice bit of gold there for the Dandelion Knights.
Yeah, I think that I like what Dream Daddies are doing in the sense that they're like, look, we gave the Vladimir time to scale last game, and they picked another scaling champ this game in the Master Yi. We do not want that to happen again. So they press their advantage, they get 2 turrets bot, they get 2 turrets mid, they look to dive the mid turret. They're really pressing their lead here to try to get advantages and take out neutral objectives, and they've extended their gold lead a little bit to about 5,000 gold, just a bit more. The problem is, particularly there, I think they're being a bit over-aggressive, and they're trading kills. And when you're behind, trading kills always favors the team that's behind, because as long as you're going even, you're getting the same amount of money, but the team that's behind is more likely to get shutdowns, and they're getting gold on the people who are behind and need it more. And notably, they're trading a lot of gold.
Oh, is he gonna get the pick here? Oh, Nar gets it with the boomerang as Senna goes over the wall. Galio's hanging out in the bush trying to get a pick in the backline, get some taunts. But I don't think he wants to be there. He's not tanky enough for that. Nar's building up his rage bar, trying to get in there, but a triple stun by Zillion once again disengages. Olaf is not done, however, and he has to be ults himself and gets ulted by the Zillion. A bit of miscommunication there, you'd think, as only one of them really needed that.
And so this will give over to the Dragon, I believe, here, to Dandelion Knights. Yeah, I don't think you can't steal objectives with Senna Railgun. It doesn't actually do damage to neutral monsters.
I think you're correct there. It does almost kill Gragas, though.
Yes, true. They could have tried to pick off the Dragon at least for a trade kill. And notably, Dream Daddies do have a Rift Herald here. I'd like to see them use it mid. The pings are coming out on the inhib turret, both mid and bot lane. I'd like to see them use the Rift Herald to try to break the base open. They're looking to catch Aphelios. Felio's here.
The taunt does land, but the Thresh Lantern is there, and it takes him in the good direction to get him out of that fight. Gnar is picking on Camille down here. Camille says, I don't want any of that, and is trying to get out of there. But realizes he's probably not going to get away, so he just ults him to try to finish off the fight. But ultimate from the Gnar at a good time, right as he transforms. He's able to finish him off. For the 1v1 kill, I really didn't expect anything at this point in the game.
I think what matters there is Gnar has both Bramble Vest and Warden's Mail. He's building into Thorn Mail. Camille has not yet finished her Triforce.
Oh, that explosive cast doesn't land onto the Olaf, but they are able to pick him up in the end anyway. I think the damage from that would have made that a lot less dangerous. Galio goes back in, gets the taunt onto Gragas and kills him. Gnar is here, though, looking to clean someone up, and it's probably going to be Galio. Unless Galio 1v1s him.
But Galio's going to be caught out, and will fall to the... will fall to the Gnar.
No assist there for Yi. The rise just too late.
They do break open the base. They take the mid inhibitor turret. Gnar has completed his Thornmail here. But unfortunately, one of the issues with Senna is that because of her weird attack speed scaling, she essentially has a extremely low base attack speed, but a massive amount of bonus attack speed inherent. And so she doesn't get much faster attack speed by building attack speed. So notably, ZZ Dog is not building attack speed.
Oh, he is getting caught though, and he goes down to the Yi. Zilean is teleporting in, but it's not somewhere he wants to be. I think it was a little bit too ambitious. He lands the triple stun, and the Galio ultimate does some damage, and they're able to pick up one. But I don't think it's going to be enough, as it's just the numbers that trickled in one by one. And once enough is not there, it's becoming kind of a pattern that the rest of the team is going a little bit too aggressive, while Olaf is, working on Rift Herald or some other objective. Now looks like the Dandelion Knights are getting started on Baron.
Yeah, and the issue there is because after they take out the inhib turret, because of how slow Senna's attack speed is, she's pretty bad at taking structures. She does good damage per hit, but it's still not enough, and they don't manage to clean up the inhib. And they lose people in the retreat. Specifically, they lose Galio, they lose Senna, which means that their respawns are staggered. They're not on all respawning at the same time. And the people who play ARAM know staggered respawns are really bad because it means that you are perpetually outnumbered. And what you see there is the Thresh just rolls up on the Senna, and then rolls up on Galio because Galio ults in, and then rolls up on Camille, who teaches him.
Trying to start a fight here, but the rest of his team is not on the same page. They were not coming to help him. He used everything and was able to CC both the Galio and the Senna there, but nobody was there to help, and they were busy with mid lane.
And one issue I'm seeing is also that, Cheeseburger is not right now very strong. He doesn't have Triforce, has not been around that high.
Zilean ult brings another one back, but it's not enough. He has gotten to the point where he is really doing damage.
Yeah, the Guinsu's Master Yi working on his wit's end.
Oh, yeah, he's able to dodge out the stun there. Yeah, he's at
this
the point where they're really going to have to deal with him.
And now he's 8-8. And I'm looking at the side of Dandelion Knights. I'm sorry, Dream Daddies, and there's no anti-heal. Camille doesn't have a completed item yet. She's split between her Trinity Force and her Ravenous Hydra. Olaf has no anti-heal. Zilean is building a Morello, but he hasn't finished it. And notably, Zilean is not very good at applying Morello. Yeah, just one last
There
one.
goes the Camille. And that actually puts Yi as the third richest one in the game behind the 280 carries, or behind the Galio and the Jhin. I mean, that's wild. He was not in a great position.
Yeah, the issue with Yi is he only really needs 1 or 2 kills to pop off, and it's very hard to stop him from getting those as the game goes on. So we're now at 23 minutes. This Yi he's certainly got enough money to finish his wit's end. I'm not sure what he'll go for after that. Could be Bork, could be some kind of defensive item, could be just bans. But
they thought about sneaking Baron, but they got caught out. Looks like Thresh is going to go down. Senna's able to pick up 2 as they went a little too hard on their dissuasion of Baron there. Nar is trying to get away, but he's going to get rooted up and taken down. Currently a 3-for-1. He is trying to clean it up a little bit. I don't know if he's quite very strong. No, he is not. He is able to get 1, but not 2. Jhin is running for the hills from that super speed Olaf.
And that's actually basically the perfect fight from Dream Daddies, and it's exactly what they need to do. They get a pick, they start a fight in a 5v4 when he isn't there. He's coming from bot side, and so they're actually able to win the fight before he gets there. Buffafelio plays extremely well, good use of the Blast Cone to knock the Camille away from him, knowing that he himself will not be knocked away because of the Hextech ultimatum, and is able to survive, but Infinite Blades is picked off at the end.
Oh wow. Flash hook by Thresh into the pit. They're trying to kill Olaf off before he can get the Baron, but they're not able to do it. He picks it up just before he goes down. Jhin does pick up 2 kills on the exit, but notably, Camille and the Galio had respawned, and so they do have the Baron buff.
Yeah, your ADC, such as it is, and your split pusher both. I don't think Camille really wants to be split pushing here. She's not strong enough to 1v1 the Yi or the Gnar, and I don't think she's going to be in a position to 1v1 the Galio.
Ooh, good jump in by Gnar, ults into the wall. They've got the stun, and they will take out the Galio and take the mid lane tier 1 here. Probably be able to push into the tier 2 fairly easily, even against these Baron minions.
Gnar is about to go mini, but he has already essentially done what he needs to do, which is, you know, get a good Gnar ult off. Look on the Camille.
Lands, he goes in, it's pretty deep. Body slam in behind. Olaf, though, ults and takes out 1 right away. Gets the Zilean ult and is fine. Zilean, meanwhile, double kill with his bombs, doing immense damage.
Mickey Mike's fight there. He gets a 4-man bomb stun, which I think kills 1 person instantly, and tags another with the Dark Harvest. Then the Gnar carries the bomb back into the Gragas, which kills Gragas as well. And he goes down into the fight, so they should actually be in a position to try to get this in-game here. Jin's ulting to try to peel them off, but they're waiting on about.
Gnar's ult is back up again. They're able to use that to put up some serious hurt down and take out 2 of them. Olaf and Camille both taken out.
Well, Senna has chose to go top lane, so she actually is not there, and they don't actually get the inhib. It's a successful defense of Dream Daddy's base, but like they don't really get anything off of it beyond a few kills, which are good here, but you're facing down a 10 and 10 Master Yi who's building into more lifesteal and is about to get a Cloud Soul. In addition to just having Highlander up more often, the massive speed increase means that no one will be able to escape from him. And he'll just run anyone down. Like, the Senna is basically dead if she exists within vision of Master Yi. If he gets Cloud Soul.
Yeah, he is really at the point where he can start carrying this game. The difficulty for him is going to be this Death Cap Zilean. Zilean has been really on point with these double bombs. His zoning and his control of areas with his bombs mean that a lot of times the Dandelion Knights cannot go where they want to go, or they die for it if they do go there. They are posturing pretty strong around this dragon, but this is Dragon Soul, and Dream Daddies are not about to let this go for free.
And with Olaf Ragnarok down, he doesn't have any way to get in there against, you know, the Thresh Peel, the Gragas Peel. Good taunt from Galio.
Galio sneaks around behind, and he is able to get a 4-man taunt, and that's a great start to the fight. He is in the back line. He is taken out by the Senna. Meanwhile, Olaf is able to take out the Thresh and the Gragas. He's doing quite a bit of work himself. Gnar is doing his best in the backline, but it's a 3 versus 1, and he's gonna go down. That should be Dragon for Dream Daddies, no problem.
Yeah, I'm curious. Cheeseblaze is still trying to finish off that Triforce. He needs to farm, man. But they are TPing. They're going. I think the turret had already gone down, but Nicky Mike's looking to push this in. They really want to get this in here. They've got about 15 seconds before the main threat in the form of Yi is up. So they're looking to try to get at least one inhib, if not get a second here.
Yeah, I think they need to make sure they get that mid hit before they do anything else. The minion wave was already there for them. Looks like they might try to rotate bot here and get at least the tower. But everyone is up now, and it's going to be contested. Everyone that is, except Gnar, that is. Oh, but Gragas steps forward too far, gets caught by the center root and taken out. That's pretty much gifting the tower away, unless they misplay this.
Yeah, that should be. I mean, the Gragas ult would have been excellent to disengage. I think the threat of Yi is still very much there, so they have to respect that on the side of Dream Daddies. They can't just, run back in and assume they're going to be fine because Yi will just free hit them. He is working on a Death Dance. He's got a little resist from the Aegis of the Legion.
Oh, played back under turret, but he is able to ult himself. Zillion is, but he is left to die. Nothing really doing there, as Dream Daddy sacrificed him, while Galio handles a split push in top lane for a turret.
Yeah, he's got his demolish up, so he'll get some good damage on the tower here. Olaf's gonna have to ult out.
Well-timed ult, but it's not gonna be enough to keep him alive. His Guardian Angel is popped. He's probably gonna go down here without trading anything back. Master Yi, though, went a little too deep there and got CC'd down, his biggest weakness. Camille was able to take out the bot tower while they were distracted in top and jungle. Gragas ult whiffs, and Camille is getting Galio ulted on, but it's 2v4. I don't know if they want it. They're doing a very good job, though, as Senna came in and peeled off the Jhin and took him out. Gnar is able to take out the Camille. Galio flashes away after taunting. Senna, though, is there for the cleanup. This is looking juicy. I think that's gonna be it, as Galio flies in there for the shutdown. And that's the ace.
So Galio is the only survivor of the fight. Zillion and Olaf have both respawned here. I think Young Fiend, he's trying to push the wave in. No, he is up. He's not going to be able to get the inhib. So he is forced to withdraw. But a very bloody fight. But in this time, Dream Daddies are going to be able to get vision control around the Baron, perhaps even start it, given that Yi has to clear the wave of super minions at the base.
Yeah, knowing where he is, I feel like they can start it and just use Olaf's innate healing to get it going.
Camille should be able to TP in here, and I'd like her to do so, mostly just because Baron does apply a debuff to the closest target, whoever he is personally attacking, which reduces the damage they deal to him. And given that Zillion is not a huge damage dealer, even with this AP build, they need Camille's DPS to actually try to take this in a reasonable amount of time. Yeah. Because all the Dandelion Knights have respawned, they're on their way in, they're looking to try to contest this.
It looks like they realized it, but they realized it too late. They waited until everyone was up and then moved there as a team. And by that point, Olaf and Zillion had already worked the Baron down so low that Camille just hopped over the wall and helped him secure it in time.
Also, credit to Young Fiend for being an excellent distraction there. They all walk into that bush near blue buff, near the blue buff entrance. They see the guy and they're like, "Oh, get him! Get the statue!" And like Yi peels off there instead of just running in, because Yi probably could have run in and tried to alpha strike to dodge NECC and tried to steal the Baron. But he essentially gives it up chasing the Galio kill, and Young Fiend uses the Blast Cone expertly to knock himself over the wall, knock all of Dandelion Knights away from him, and they get the Baron. They don't lose anyone. They're now posturing around the dragon. Actually, posturing in mid and top. Looks like they're looking to push it in and have Cheese Blaze split bot.
Yeah, the pressure now that they've got with this Baron, they should be able to get another integral hitter, as long as looks like they're probably gonna, once they've got mid pushed in, probably go a 4-1 with Camille in the bot lane.
I think that was a good call there. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, you're fine.
A good call from Dandelion.
Caught out Will.
Oh, there we go. They Oh, Billion.
Will he get away? He's got a lot of speed boost, but the flash from the Gnar for the slow and hook, that is enough. But it is 3 men committed just for the Zilean, and that's going to be their top turret and inhibitor traded away. Zilean ults, and looks like the bot inhibitor goes as well. So that's all 3 inhibitors down. That's a hefty price to pay for 1 pick. They just look like they will be able to get the Olaf. He survives a really long time, but the Senna ult doing his job. Gnar is able to 1v1 the Camille in the bot lane, but Senna Galio stands strong against the competition in the top lane. It's only Jin left there, and he's actually flash away.
Yeah, the Senna is 17, 5, and 23. ZZ Jog has just like been getting so many kills.
Oh,
yeah, more.
Mates himself a little bit, flashes in to hit the Jin, but the Jin damage is extreme.
So the mid inhib has respawned for the Dandelion Knights, but they've lost both their top and bot inhibs, and the top inhib is key here because when you're contesting a neutral objective, the inhib that is opposite side of the map from it is tremendously valuable.
Oh, Jin is going to try to solo the dragon, but Zilean is there. That's going to make it a little awkward. I think Zilean needs to start making this harder for Jin, or Jin's just going to 4th shot it. Oh, no. Zilean steals it with some bombs.
Yeah, the awkward situation there is Aphelios, Buff Aphelios is doing about 1,000 damage per crit auto. He does get more damage out of the 4th shot because it's an execute, but it doesn't do enough damage. I think what he needed to do was actually turn on Nicky Might there, because essentially what Nicky Might was just going to do is wait for it to get low enough and chuck the bombs in and hope he steals it. And because of Jin's slow auto attack cadence and need to reload, during that reload period, he doesn't really have an ability to kill it. Either that or needed to use some traps or maybe his dancing grenade to try to soften the dragon up so that he could kill it with the 4th shot.
Yeah, saving your 4th shot for the last 1,000 or so health is pretty critical in that situation. But it's difficult to say whether or not that would even be enough damage with the death cap, the Borello, Luden, Zeko, Zilean.
True. The bombs are doing 778 each, so
yeah,
the double bomb combo is quite a lot. So they're pausing around mid inhib. It's the only inhib left. So all Dream Daddies need to do is wait for the supers to get into the base, because with only 1 Nexus turret left, Dandelion Knights can't afford to ignore these waves.
Gnar goes in, he gets taunted up, and he's able to ultimate, but transform, but his ultimate does not catch anybody. The extended fight is going on. Gragas is interrupting the backline a lot. He's survived for quite a while, and he's done some serious damage, and now the rest of the team is able to join him, and Jin takes out Camille. Olaf is on the run. His Guardian Angel's probably going to get popped here. Zilean is trying his best to get some picks off, and he does get the Gragas, and it looks like he's probably going to get the Thresh here as well. Hits Olaf with a nice speed buff, and Olaf is out of there.
And notably, Dandelion Knights have lost their other Nexus turret to the supers here. Gnar's forced to teleport back. He's not even that far from his base, but he has to TP, or else they lose their Nexus here.
Oh, and Gnar does not have the health to survive if he has to tank all those minions. Olaf is trying to run down the Jin here with the Zilean ult on him. He does force Jin to attack him and proc the ult. I don't know if he'll be able to finish him off. Looks like it's a bit of a narrow thing. Zilean is going to have to get involved to make sure Olaf gets out of there.
Well, what's key there is Zilean takes out the inhib. So now all 3 inhibs are down. There's a completely open Nexus on the side of Dandelion Knights. They just have no ability to leave their base, and Baron spawns in under a minute. They can't contest it. The only hope they have is that Infinite Blades is equal on levels to strong, so they have to 50-50. Like, they have to have Yi try to run in there and smite it while everyone else clears the base. Because if they invest too many people into trying to contest Baron, their base will just die, and if they don't, they will give up Baron.
Yeah, I think Baron is just going to go down before they get here. He is clearing minions in the mid wave, and he's He's not going to be there, and the chance of him getting in there was low. It's hard to. It's a difficult spot to be in, especially as a jungler with no gap closer other than Yi's Q. You really have very little chance of getting in there past the taunt of the Galio or the ultimate of the Camille. If they really want to keep you out, they can keep you out.
Especially with no QSS. You can't QSS the Camille, but you could potentially QSS the Galio taunt, but always got his Merc Treads. But even with the tenacity, the CC will be long enough for him to die or be kept.
Yeah, all they have to do is keep him out of range of smite for, a couple of seconds, and it would have been over. So he decides not to even commit, to try to instead push up the lane as far as he can, so that when they do approach, hopefully they're able to get a fight started before all the minions are on the Nexus. Oh, Dar tries to get the transform and the flash in ult, but he just whiffs. Gragas body slam misses, and the crask as well. That's really tragic. Olaf goes in and ults, but is pretty low. Gets the Zillion ult popped on him. Camille is hitting the Nexus. Galio goes down a little too far forward by himself. He is doing what he can, but he's going to fall to the Olaf. Looks like now the minions are there, and they're going to end the game for them. In case of the Winions, I think, unless they get distracted by some champions. But no, the cannons know what to hit.
And that is game 2 for Dream Daddies. So they managed to turn it back and split the series 1-1.
Yeah, an interesting series all around. Both teams trading back and forth in both games, keeping it pretty competitive. It felt like you knew who was in control in both games, but not so in control that the win condition was away from the other team.
Yeah, so who would you select as ace and MVP here?
I think I have to give it to the Zillion for this performance in this game. It just seemed like over and over again in these fights, on the door to their inhibitors there with the quadruple stun, so many times where he zoned off early on. When Yi first died, he was zoned off and had to run back into the enemy team because it was either run into double bombs and get stunned or run into the enemy team. Just so many situations there where I think Zillion had just zone control and damage, and then just the utility of that ultimate and the speed on Olaf really made Olaf a bigger threat than he would have been in the late game without it.
I'm a little torn on my ace choice here because Infinite Blades had a really good comeback on Master Yi for someone who started the game 0-3, but Buff Velios was also doing just such massive late game damage on the Jhin, 1,000 damage crits every shot. So to me, it would come down between those two, and I'm not sure who I would pick.
Yeah, I think it is really tough, but I think I would probably go with with Buff Velios if I had to pick one, simply for the fact that at so many points at the end there, it felt like he was the last man standing for his team. And I think some of that, it just comes down to what champion they're playing. He has to go in and has to play a little bit riskier, whereas Jhin can use his range to his advantage. But at the same time, he was able to use his range to his advantage and survive and hold the line in a couple of situations there. I think it could have been a real momentum shift if he was able to get that dragon, and they would have gotten Soul. But I don't know if it would have been enough to change the fate of this game.
Yeah. Alright, so I think we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to check with production to see if we have another game or not. But, sorry, production, what was that? Okay, so we do have one more match, so we will be back shortly to cast that.